Hello, I'm Guy Skelly-Heron, and I'd like to introduce you to our first book, Turn Over a New Leaf. This is a book that was designed to balance, cleanse and detoxify your body over a 6 weeks period. All the recipes in the book are vegan and they're gluten, dairy, wheat and sugar-free. It's a very simple program to follow. You have pantry needs and shopping lists at the beginning of every week, and every day is laid out on the pages, breakfast, lunch and dinner for you. It's really easy to do. Not everybody who buys this book wants to use it as a cleansing program. A lot of people want to learn how to do vegan cooking. They want to learn how to do gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, wheat-free food. And it has a lot of fantastic ideas and really delicious recipes. They're all laid out in a way that is very simple to follow, not millions of instructions, and the writing's large so you can see it easily, and the book opens flat onto your bench, so it's quite a good book to work with. We published the Turn Over a New Leaf book in 2004, and over the years this has become one of Australia's leading vegan cooking programs. This book led to a cooking program which we developed, which was Kitchen Coach. So the following video segment is going to be about some of the Kitchen Coach favourites, mainly me because I'm the Kitchen Coach here, and some of the recipes which I really enjoy making. They're not in the book, they are probably not things that you would want to be eating every day, even if you were on the program, but they're something that you would like to make for a special occasion or you just feel like something different. So please enjoy watching the program, and I hope that you get inspired by some of the great dishes that we're going to make. Hello, welcome to Turn Over a New Leaf Kitchen Coach Favourites. Cooking legumes forms the basis of nearly all the recipes in our book, and so the first part we're going to show you how to prepare legumes. Many of our readers have requested that we do this demonstration, even though it's in the book, they wanted to see it being done. So let's see how we prepare legumes for cooking. Before we go ahead and prepare the chickpeas, I just wanted to mention that with the, say, red kidney beans and the black-eyed beans, or any of the beans, that they all have different cooking times. It's the same process, but the times of cooking are different, so you can refer to our book for those times. Alright, so we've got our chickpeas, and we're going to soak them in a jar. Now you could use a big bowl or a jar, doesn't matter, something that probably holds about 5 litres. In this case I'm using 4 cups of chickpeas. This is approximately a 5 litre container, and I'm going to pour them in. So we can see that it's not taking up the whole, it's only taking up about just under half of the container. And so that's leaving me plenty of room when I fill it with water so that they can expand. So once that we've soaked it overnight, then we can prepare and cook the chickpeas. So the chickpeas have been soaking overnight, and as you can see they've expanded to take up all the room in the jar. So as I said before, make sure when you do soak them, you've got a big enough container for them to enlarge. What we're going to do next is to drain them in a colander and then rinse them off in filtered water. Put them into the pressure cooker and then cook them. So we'll do this process first. So first of all, we're going to strain them off in the colander. And then rinse. And so now we're ready to prepare them and put them into the pressure cooker. Pressure cooking is one of the fastest ways to cook legumes. If you were to do them, chickpeas for instance, if you were to do those in a saucepan on the stove, they can take up to 2 or 3 hours to cook. But in a pressure cooker, they can cook in 9 minutes after it reaches pressure. So it's a huge time saving, and personally I think they taste a lot better when they've been done in a pressure cooker. So we've got our soaked chickpeas and poured them into the pressure cooker. And when you're using a pressure cooker, you don't put in too much more than about half of the volume in legumes, and then with about 1 inch over of water. Don't fill it up too much to the top, otherwise it could spill over in the cooking process. So I'm going to just put some filtered water in that now. The pressure cooker is now filled with filtered water and ready for the cooking process. And like I said before, don't fill up the pressure cooker more than about, with the chickpeas and the water not more than about 3/4 full, otherwise it could come over when it's cooking. Now, so then we place the lid on the pressure cooker. Most pressure cookers, no matter what brand, have generally got some sort of a clipping system to them, and then there's a little pressure valve which will come up when the water is boiling and the pressure is up. The little button comes up to show you that it's at the pressure time, and that's when you start to time the cooking. So for instance, you can see here the little button. When I put this on the stove and cook it, it could take 15 or 20 minutes for it to come up to pressure, and then this little button will pop up, and then I time it 9 minutes from there for chickpeas. That's how long I'm going to cook it for. It's different for all the different legumes, so you'll need to look at our book to get the exact cooking times. But generally for chickpeas, it's 9 minutes once it reaches pressure. So that's how you do your timing. So you put the lid back on, and we're ready for cooking, and the next process will be storage. The chickpeas have cooked now, and the whole thing is cooled off, so make sure that your pressure cooker is cool before you open it, otherwise you might get a steam bath. So opening like so, and the chickpeas are now ready for storage, or for bagging and storage. Now there's quite a few different ways you can do this. You can use zip plastic lunch bags, so just opening like that. Place your chickpeas in there like so. I'm using a slotted spoon, so any liquid that might be in the bottom of it can stay in the bottom of the pressure cooker. So like so. And depending on the size of your family, you can bag up in the portions that you need for the recipe. So there you are, that's ready to go in the freezer, and you can take that out at any time for an instant chickpea dish. And I never leave anything in the freezer for longer than about 3 weeks. So you might want to put a date on that so you know how long it's been in there. And you can also use other types of containers as long as they can go in the freezer. So maybe a plastic container with a lid, or a glass container with a lid. And that way, so you've got all your chickpeas made and ready to prepare any kind of a dish. It's that quick, just as quick as grabbing a can out of the cupboard. In the future, food is only going to become more and more expensive. So it's really important that we learn to prepare our own inexpensive, highly nutritious food, and legumes really do fall into that category. They're easy to prepare, they're very, very cheap to buy, and they're highly nutritious. In fact, 3/4 of the world lives on legumes alone. And so, for instance, a kilo of chickpeas will cost around $3 to $4 depending, and they will swell up 3 times the size of that to about 3 kilos cooked, which would feed 10 people. So let's say that you could make a really nutritious meal for 10 people for probably, I don't know, $5 or $10 even. That is very economical and very nutritious. So I hope that you will enjoy this process and try it for yourself, because it really is quite simple once you get into the hang of it, and you will save yourself a lot of time and money over a period of time. And finally, in the next segment, I'm going to show you a couple of really innovative ways to use chickpeas.